everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've been getting on really well with all of the demonstrations I've been doing. Thank you for those of you that have shared all of your swatches and progress with me. I do really enjoy seeing them. It makes me really happy that you know, I can actually reach quite a lot of people, so well done you. So this video is actually a quick one, just to let you know that I am going to be moving my videos over to Patreon. It's basically a subscription service, so you subscribe to a level or a tier. So I think I have got about 1 or 2, so it's really basic and really simple. All that you've been watching on YouTube on a weekly basis that I've been uploading is basically now going to be available on Patreon, okay? I'm not moving my current videos, obviously, so you've still got access to them, but moving forward, all my really good swatches and techniques that I have been developing will be moving over to be exclusive just to my subscribers. So it's actually really affordable, really cheap. It's about I think it's about £10 a month, the first level, which gives you access to about 2 to 4 techniques a month. So it's again similar to what you've been seeing on my YouTube channel, nothing different, but I will still continue uploading some really basic techniques on YouTube for those of you that still want to get a little dose of that creative knit process. So that's all I want to let you know. So for those of you that do want to continue on this journey with me, want to be part of a little community, you know, get in touch with people, share your progress photos for the demonstrations, get advice, you know, I'll pop in there in the chats as well, and just sort of like be part of a little knit community, then do go over to the link below on Patreon and subscribe to my channel. If you do have any questions, do obviously let me know in the comments as always, or you can DM me on Instagram. So anyway, moving on to this week's technique as promised. Firstly, I have been away for 2 weeks to India and it's been so long. I've had lots of food, it's been really good to see my family, but I've obviously not been on track with the demonstrations and I've just got so much work to do. So anyway, so I do have a technique for you this week, and it's actually quite simple but quite a lovely, exciting one, and it's basically these swatches here. So that's basically manual tucking with metallic viscose, and that's the back. I think I really love the back, it's quite nice. And I did another option for the demonstration, which was this one here, which I don't think has worked out as well as the first one, but it's just basically changing the layout of the needles. So this is a swatch I will be knitting, but again it's just a needle layout that's different. So I hope you enjoy it. As always, leave any comments below, ask me any questions, and subscribe to my channel. Right, let's get started.
Okay, so I have casted on 40 needles and knitted using a lamb's wool yarn and then just a couple of rows of metallic viscose. Now we are going to start off by taking our lamb's wool yarn. So I'm going to be swapping the colours around slightly, but I guess it doesn't really matter. The technique is really simple, so you can choose whichever yarn you want. Okay, so I will be using the green one, and tensions on 5. Now the reason I'm using lamb's wool is because I obviously want to wash the swatch and I want it to felt, okay, slightly. So you can of course use any other yarn, and it does not have to be a felting yarn. I just really like the texture against the other yarn that I'm using, okay? So an idea for you would be to use the same colour. So say you use pink, and if you use a lamb's wool, and if you use a, I don't know, a metallic or cotton or something slightly finer and something that does not felt in the wash, it will give you a beautiful subtle detail of the technique. So definitely try it out. Okay, so I am going to start by knitting 2 rows in the lamb's wool. So obviously I've swapped the green, and then I am going to use the metallic viscose in gold and 2 ends, and I am going to knit maybe about 6 rows. Okay, and now I'm going to swap back to my lamb's wool, and I am going to knit 2 rows. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab a 3-prong transfer tool. Okay, now once you've seen this technique, you can actually change how you do it. And I am going to start by lifting stitches up on the sides. Okay, so I'm going to lift a few on this side and a few on the right hand side. Okay, and it's really simple. Okay, so I'm not planning it that much, so I'm going to leave 6 stitches on the left and the right hand side. Okay, and I'm going to go for the 7th, 8th and 9th and go to the bottom of it, and then go right down to the first row of that green yarn. Okay, and I'm simply going to insert my tool and lift those stitches up and place them on the needle. Okay, so I'm just going to take this weight off just in case the yarn breaks. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the right hand side. So that's 3, 6, and I'm going to go down to the bottom here. Now it does not really need to be exact. Okay, so I'm going to pick these 3 and place them on here, and I'm going to push these needles forward. I'm just simply going to push all of these needles forward. This is a really hard one to record, I think, because of all the zooming in, but hopefully it'll be okay. As long as you understand the technique, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now I'm going to swap over to my gold metallic viscose again, and I'm going to knit 6 rows. And now I'm going to go back to knitting 2 rows in the lamb's wool. So I'm going to swap my colour to pink. I'm just doing a little bit of striping. And swap back to the metallic viscose. So just to go over, we are knitting 2 rows in lamb's wool, 6 rows in metallic viscose, and doing the lifting the stitches as we go along. Okay, so I've done the 2 lamb's wool. And this time round, I'm going to go in the center. Okay, so I've got my center as 0, and I'm just simply going to go down there and lift 3 stitches up and place them on the hook. Okay, and then push the other needles forward and knit 6 rows in the metallic viscose. You can actually obviously take down the number of rows you knit. You can change the layout of the lifting up of the stitches to make a slightly different pattern. All of this is up to you. And I'm just simply going to change my yarn back to the green, knit 2 rows. And now we're going to lift our stitches, and we're going to lift them up on the sides again, okay, as we did the first time. So 3, 6. It does not have to be perfect. Now, if you're not comfortable using the 3-prong tool, you can actually use a single prong, or maybe just practice with a single prong tool and then picking up only a few stitches as opposed to doing so many. And also, in order to change the technique, you don't have to stick with just lifting 3 stitches. You can lift a whole section up and it will give you a completely different outcome. Right, so I'm going to change my number of rows to 4 rows, just for the fun of it, and then change back to the lamb's wool, knit 2, and lift your stitches up. So this time it is back in the center, knit 4 rows. then knit 2 in the lamb's wool and lift the corner stitches. Now I think the reason this technique works really well with the massive gaps between the lifting is because of the choice of yarns. I think the lightness, the see-throughness of that metallic yarn works really beautifully with the lamb's wool when you wash it, because it's a little bit more substantial, you know. So if you're using the yarns, just make sure you pick something that's a bit of a contrast, and I don't mean in colour, I mean in a texture and the weight. Okay, so I am now going to end this swatch with some plain rose. So that is basically all of the technique. It is so simple, actually quite quick to do, and again the choice of yarns really matter. Okay, now go ahead and experiment with your layout as usual and choice of yarns, and let me know how you get on. If you do have any questions, just leave them in the comment below. And also, I do hope you've been getting on really well with other techniques and hope you found them helpful. Do leave any suggestions in the comments or just DM me, and don't forget to tag me in your progress because I'd love to see it. Right, if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.